All right, this is a video to help you get a little bit better understanding of lists. All right, so let's say I have this list of four names here. All right, and what we want to do is we want to understand some things about lists. So remember, a list has however many elements it does. So the length of this list would be four, right? Because there are four elements. Now, the index starts at zero. So the first element in the list has an index of zero, then one, then two, then three, right? So let's say that I have a label and I choose names one. Okay. And then I'm going to put this label at 200, 200 with a size of 20, just to make it a little bit easier for everyone to see. All right. So let's say I do that right now. Names one, right? So Dan is zero, Sandy is one, Jim Bob is two, Harry is three, right? And so names one would be Sandy. So that means when I run this, Sandy gets the label gets put at 200, 200 with a size of 20, right? Okay, let's say that I change it to names three, right? Now, zero, one, two, three, that should mean that Harry is the label now. All right. Now, what if I do names four? This is a real common thing that people look at and they say, okay, well, there's one, two, three, four, right? So I guess that must mean Harry. Well, no, the index for Dan is zero, Sandy is one, Jim Bob is two, Harry is three. So there is no names four. So I get an error, right? The list index is out of range. Four is out of the range of the index. All right. So that's important to note. You get an error here. All right. Now let's say that I say, okay, names zero, right? And I'm going to update the value of names zero to Jimmy. All right. So now name zero equals Jimmy. So now I am saying instead of Dan, we're going to replace Jimmy with Dan, right? Because now name zero is equal to Jimmy. All right. So now what happens if I just print off the names, right? So now the whole label is the list of names, right? So not a specific one, but the whole list, all right? So now if I run it, you see, okay, now Jimmy is there instead of Dan, then Sandy, Jim, Bob, Harry, right? But remember, this is centered at 200, 200, size 20, all right? All right. Now, what if I say, okay, let's use the dot append. All right. So remember, what does dot append mean? All right. So dot append, remember, takes and puts whatever you have at the end of your list, right? So the name that I'm using is Frank. All right. So names dot append Frank. So what should that do? Remember, append means take Frank and put it at the end of the list. So I will still have Dan, Sandy, Jim, Bob, Harry, and then Frank, right? So now what does that mean? Well, now that means that I have a zero, one, two, three, four, right? Now the list of names is five elements long, right? But Frank is names four, right? So now earlier I had an error, right? When I did names four, but now if I do that, I just get Frank, right? Okay. Now let's use another one. It is the insert feature. So now names insert. All right. And now what we need to do is we need to tell it where to put Frank, right? So let's put Frank at element one. All right. So what does that mean? That means that Frank is now going to become index one, which pushes the other remaining indices back one, right? So there will be five elements in the list, right? But now, if you see, Frank is now the second element, right? So Dan is zero, Frank is one. Now Sandy is two, Jim Bob is three, Harry is four, right? So now if I did names four, right? Then I'm going to get Harry now because Harry is the fourth element, or sorry, the last element in the list at an index of four. All right. All right. Let's use another one. Okay. Another one is the remove function. All right. So now names dot remove. Now let's select, all right, Dan to remove. All right. And so names dot remove Dan is going to remove Dan from the list. All right. or the first occurrence of Dan. All right. So if we do this, now you'll notice that Sandy, Jim, Bob, Harry are left. Sandy is now at index 0. Jim Bob is at 1. Harry is at 2. All right. Now, what if I did like names 4 again? What's going to happen? Well, I'm going to get an error, right? Because the list index is out of range. Okay. All right, let's do another one. Let's say that I have another element and it is the name Dan again, right? Now, if I do names.remove Dan, what's going to happen? Well, like I said earlier, it only removes the first occurrence of Dan, right? Notice how the second occurrence of Dan is still at the end of the list. Okay. All right. And so that is some information on lists. All right. So go ahead and try the extra practice on the right side of the page.